Hey guys, it's Zeta, and today I'm going to be singing I Don't Think I'm Good, but if you think I'm good, please subscribe. Thank you. And I'm singing Hours by Taylor Swift. Elevator buttons and morning air. Stranger silence makes me want to take the stairs. If you were here, we'd laugh about their vacant stares. But right now, my time is theirs. Seems like there's always someone who disapproves. They'll judge it like they know about me and you. And the verdict comes from those with nothing else to do. The jury's out, but my choice is you. So don't you worry your pretty little mind. People throw rocks and things that shine and light makes love look hard. The stakes are high, the water's rough, but this love is ours. You never know what people have up their sleeves. Ghosts from your past gonna jump out at me, lurking in the shadows with their lip gloss smiles. But I don't care, 'cause right now you're mine. And you'll say, don't you worry your pretty little mind. People throw rocks at things that shine and light makes love look hard. The stakes are high, the water's rough, but this love is ours. And if there's not there to speculate, if it's wrong and your hands are tough, but they are mine. My belonging, I'll fight the doubt and give you faith with this song for you. 'Cause I love the gap between your teeth, and I love the riddles that you speak. And any snide remarks from my father about your tattoos will be ignored, 'cause my heart is yours. So don't you worry your pretty little mind. People throw rocks and things that shine and light makes love look hard. And don't you worry your pretty little mind. People throw rocks and things that shine, but they can't take what's ours. They can't take what's ours. The stakes are high, the water's rough, but this love is ours. Thank you guys. I hope you liked it, because Taylor Swift is like my idol. Bye.